25 degrees Celsius here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, your daily dose of sunshine this Democracy Day. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
Happy Democracy Day, everyone. I'm Kila Megwa, and really nice weather we're having here in the nation's capital on this Democracy Day. But a very heated polity. Protests have started. Expected. No one's really surprised, but expected. But we listened to the president as well this morning, and he actually, took his time to talk about a lot of things.
Indeed.
A lot of things that many Nigerians are very worried about. But the thing is, you see, with the president, he knows how to talk to us. Whether we're listening is the question.
Well, key things he spoke about in his speech, Kila, he acknowledged the fact that our democracy is the longest we've had so far since 1999 in this Fourth Republic. 27 years is what we're celebrating, or at least marking today if we're not celebrating. He acknowledged the challenges that are inherent within our polity as we speak. I mean, he spoke about the children abducted in Oyo State, still very much in captivity. He says, though this year's mood is dampened by the abduction of our children in Oyo and Borno, we remain hopeful for their safe return. Democracy without security is not solid enough. So these clearly are acknowledgements of the challenges that are currently confronting us. He honors the memories of fallen heroes or those who fought for this democracy. Chief M.K. Abiola, who won a pan-Nigerian mandate transcending ethnicity and religion. We remember Alaja Kudirat Abiola, Chief Gani Fawemi, Chief Bola Ige, Chief Alfred Rowane, Abraham Adesanya, and on goes the list, including Arthur Wankwo, Chima Obani, Shehu Musa Eredua. So you have all of that, and then he also uses it to talk about his track record so far, what he's been able to accomplish in the 3 years that he has been president, and he also wants Nigerians. He says, criticize me, but do not lose hope in democracy. And I think that will be the cry or the urging of many an activist who participated in that struggle for Nigeria's democracy that eventually came in 1999. There's so many talking points in this speech. But we're not doing the talking alone. And as Kayla already told you earlier, protests are on in certain parts of Nigeria today. In Lagos, it is happening around the Freedom Square area, and we understand that prominent activist and lawyer, Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, has also joined the protesters. So we will be bringing you highlights of that as much as we can before we join the Covenant Nation, who are having a program today. So anytime from now, this program could be cut off to join the platform, just to put you on notice. But this morning, we have with us Professor Anthony Kila, who joins us virtually from Lagos. He is a Jean Monnet Professor of Strategy and Development. It's good to see you, Prof. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Shall we say Happy Democracy Day to you? Is there something to be happy about today?
Well, good morning. I mean, yeah, we should always be happy every new day. Happy Democracy Day is an expression. It doesn't really mean you are happy about the democracy or not. So, it's legitimate to say so. Let's allow that to pass. Otherwise, we'll pick on everything.
But is there anything to truly celebrate? Is there anything that we should be happy about, given the promise of democracy, given the promise of this system of government and what it has delivered so far in execution? Are you surprised at the disparity, or do you think it's how we have operated the system?
I think in a way, the fact that we've had 20+ years of uninterrupted civilian rule, it looks like an achievement in itself. It's like saying you're married for 27 years. That looks good on paper, but have you been happy for 27 years? That's another story. I think in terms of quantitative analysis, we should be happy that, for 27 years, we're going to the election to choose our leaders, and nobody has given us the fellow Nigerian speech by taking over. So that's good. I think we need to remind ourselves that democracy is a process, is a journey, not a destination, not an outcome. And every year, we need to continue to work on improving that democracy. For the record, I like the president's speech very much. I like the fact that he recognizes the democracy as a value. I think he spoiled it a bit when he added his own administration thing there. I would have wanted the speech and for all of us to think of this day as the day to reckon what we have done to deepen democracy. I know it is tough because we're taken by day-to-day governance and administration, but it would be good to separate governance from the institution of democracy itself. And then every year we should celebrate to say, this year, to deepen our democracy, this is what we're doing, and perhaps this is what we're done specifically for the process of democracy, not partisan, non-matter of government of the day.
Professor Kila, every Democracy Day now, under the Tinubu administration, it feels like there's some kind of honor list that is released of people that are going to be honored, people that he says were part of the struggle. There are so many categories. In fact, in his speech, he says the honors list will be released in the next few days. All these people that he keeps honoring for the struggle for our democracy and the June 12th story, what do you make of that? Is this the right direction to go with these people who many have thought were forgotten by the Nigerian government?
Well, I think it's the right way to go. I think it's worth honoring them, and I believe that it is important to recognize the good things about us. And one of the best things are those people who stood up and fought democracy against the military, risking their lives, their careers. Some of us risked more than just life. It was also the physical aspect of it, but even your career, your whole future, to put it on hold for the love of nation. I think those people are worthy of recognition. I also believe a lot that we should go beyond government. Government should do its part. But I think the civil society, academia, the corporate world, non-government organizations should also recognize these people. I would like to see a wall somewhere in Abuja or maybe Lagos, anywhere, or maybe each state will have their own, a democracy wall that has names of over 1,000 people on it. Mind you, we can never recognize everybody, but I think, a wall of 1,000 people would be a very good place to start. I would like to propose that on this Democracy Day.
Honestly, that would be something, and we see that around the world, don't we? In monuments with the names of people who struggled for one thing or the other. But the Nigerian people seem to be very dissatisfied with this president, and we're seeing that in protests in Lagos, even in Abuja here for days. We've been seeing people protesting at military cantonments, so to speak, at places where the military are, and the conversation is around insecurity. The question about the Nigerians' safety is one that we heard the president talk about during this speech today. How should the presidency be handling the outcry from the Nigerian people right now, upset about not receiving the benefits of democracy, the dividends of democracy, looking at the government, and even in Abuja here, the protest actually says Tinubu must go. We're seeing that happening again. How should the presidency and this president be looking at these protests and responding to them?
Well, I think there are two things to it. Let me premise and go to your question specifically. The premise is this: you have to be blind or malicious not to understand that security is a major issue in the country now, that people are feeling unsafe and quite frankly, legitimately angry to feel unsafe in their own country. To your specific question, what should the government be doing? I think the government has to show that it understands people's anger and frustration and act in a way that people will feel and understand. My proposal for that way is to increase the military, the uniform presence of government on our streets. I would like to see more boots on the ground, more bullets, more bombs, more uniformed people. We need to understand that those people kidnapping, causing terror, whether they're bandits, whether they're terrorists, what they're trying to do is to destroy, terrorize our lives and put us in danger. So they're enemies, and I think the people, through the government, should declare war on them. So we should understand that we're in a state of war, and we should feel the presence of government in the state of war. And the most direct, the most visible, the easiest way to understand that presence is if you can see more gunmen on the road. Let it become difficult for criminals to move about. Let it become difficult. Let it become unsafe to associate with anybody that is enemy of Nigeria. That, I think, is what the presidency, the government, should do very clearly.
Mm. You know, the president has been accused recently of well, they say this administration has witnessed more kidnappings and banditry and terrorist attacks than any other government in Nigeria's history. And we're hearing a lot from people in this government talking about a political dimension to these attacks. So, you know, these are the people who are trying to discredit the president and things like that. Could you maybe tell us what you think the president should be doing about that conversation, whether it is true or not? Because it feels like they say, oh, there's your enemies, it's the political, it's the opponent. And then when they say that, as though that's all, oh, it's the opponent, so nothing can be done. And I personally don't agree with that. But, you know, how should the president be handling these accusations? And if they are saying that it is fueled by the opposition or people who are trying to discredit his government, how should the presidency be handling that dimension?
Well, I think the first thing we need to realize is this. It is true that these people are not just mere criminals. Criminals would like to remain anonymous. You know, they like to steal or even kill and not be caught and not be seen. These people want visibility. You know, they do ridiculous, audacious things. They attack us at the core of our life. They attack children, they attack education, so that they're trying to grab headlines, so they want to be seen. To that extent, yes, I do believe that their actions are political as well, sociological, not just mere criminals. But I argue that it doesn't matter to me whether they're political enemy, economical enemy, religious enemy, I don't know, foreign enemies, domestic enemies. It matters not. What matters is what are we doing? How are we dealing with them? And I think the way to deal with them is to vanquish them. Look, the essence of a state is the possession and the ability to deploy legitimate and superior force. And again, you know, this is a call for the Nigerian state to deploy that legitimate and superior force. We need to show them that our armed forces, our police, our air force, our navy, our army, our customs officers are stronger than them, and we need to equip them, and very swiftly. You know, this is war, and you fight to win in war. This is the mindset that we need to have. If government wants to create trust and want people to see government as being on the side of the people and capable of fighting his enemy, then it has to show a posture of somebody willing to fight and willing to win. You need to expose anybody that is linked to them. You need to crush anybody that is linked, that is involved with them. And you need also to prosecute anybody that is suspected to be with them. Justice must be swift, clear, and transparent. But it must be there. We can't have a country where we're told that there are some people inside government supporting terrorism and nothing is done about it.
And some people will say that, you know, that certainly has to be done. I mean, we're having huge conversations around state police is a constitutional amendment. And I do know that you've been a part of the Patriots, which has been calling for a new constitution, an entirely new constitution. There are those who believe that for this democracy to truly survive, but not just survive, to also thrive as well, that we need to revisit the foundations. And unless we set the foundations straight, we will keep running around in circles. Is it something you hold as dogma? Or do you think that there could be other ways, which is some of the ways that we're trying to find now?
Well, I hold it as a dogma. Since you're pushing me to be an extremist, yes, let me be that extremist. I believe that ultimately...
Prof, I'm afraid that we'll not be able to take the full length of the answer to that question, but it's a good thing you say you hold it as dogma. We did tell our viewers earlier that this is an abridged version of Sunrise Daily. We have to thank them for staying with us. So we're going to leave them with the words of the president, who says that June 12 reminds us that Nigerians do not break. We bend, we bleed, but we do not break. And I think it's a fine place to leave the program this beautiful morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor Anthony Kila, Jean Monnet, Professor of Strategy and Development. Well, that's what Kila and I have for you this morning. Thank you for watching. I'm Yusuf.
I'm Kila Megwa. See you next time.
The Covenant Nation is on now with the platform.